Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Bill, also known as Amiga Bill.
That's right. And today, Bill, we are going to talk about beach volley. Now, Bill, I brought you in off the Amiga bench today because our faithful friend, Amigo Aaron, he's taking care of some family business. And I'm sure we'll get a full report when he returns. So thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, well, it's an honor to be here, Boat. I'm big fans of the Amigos. You know, over on my stream, I talk about you guys all the time. And yeah, it's an honor. It's big shoes to fill, but I'm glad I'm here. I could jump in, and I'm wishing Aaron the best with his family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you grew up in New York. It's pretty close to the beach, right? How close do you live to the beach, Bill?
I can get to a really nice beach, like Atlantic Ocean Beach, in 45 minutes. But my wife and I, we go to the beach. We try and go to the beach like once a week, and we go to like a smaller private one down in Jersey, and that one's about an hour 15.
Okay, so pretty close, comparatively speaking. It takes me about between 7 and 8 hours to get to the beach from where I am. So when you were a Ute, did you ever get down with some beach volleyball?
Oh yeah, I love beach volleyball, and also like a little bit of like pool volleyball because I had a pool in my backyard when I was a
Man.
kid. So yeah, so we had a little like pool volleyball, and actually there's a beach really close to where I live. It's not in the Atlantic Ocean, but it's in the Long Island Sound. It's on the Long Island Sound, and it's a really nice beach, but it's like hardcore. They have like beach volleyball tournaments there, and actually one of my wife's friends is really good at beach volleyball, and she plays there.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I only know of beach volleyball from what I've seen on Top Gun. That's really where my beach volleyball begins and ends. So it seems like if you're playing beach volleyball, there's nobody that kind of looks like me, a little bit tubby. You got to be fit. You got to be toned. Is that true?
I think so. I think you got to be. It's a lot of physical activity happening there. A lot of calories burned.
Yeah.
Lots of tan skin. It's like it reminds me of like Muscle Beach on Venice Beach. There,
Oh yeah, that's right. Now,
yeah.
I'm sure that you shot different films and things in beach locations before. How do you get around the fact that sand gets in everything?
Oh, you can't get around it. Unfortunately, it's absolutely brutal. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll put like underwater housing on the camera that helps protect it from the sand a little bit. But yeah, it's basically you rent equipment. Don't bring your own camera to the beach. Rent it. But yeah, I actually shot we had a really bad hurricane here several years ago called Hurricane Sandy, and it totally devastated the New Jersey shore. And I'm super honored I got to shoot like the Restore the Shore PSAs.
Oh wow.
And so I shot on the beach all the way down from Cape May all the way up to Sandy Hook, which is like the entire coastline of New Jersey. And it was crazy. And I we go into like filmmaking again. Whenever I hang out with you, but we start talking about filmmaking. But
Can't get away from it. I love it.
No, but Jersey Shore it's a big deal in the summertime. So, but we have to shoot the commercials way before the summer because you need time to edit. So we were shooting in April, and it was cold. I mean, we were so cold on the beach. It probably like maxed out at like 47 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's cold.
What is
we had?
Oh, go ahead.
And we had we had all these kids and like all these families on the beach, and it's supposed to be like a bright, fun like summer day. And meanwhile, like off to the side, like they were like wrapped up in blankets. And then I would set up the shot, but we'd have like all the PAs like stand in, I know where everyone's standing, and I'd be like, all right, go, and then. And like the blankets would come off, and like they would run out. And
Pretend
like,
it's summer, go.
Yeah, they're like, yay, and then they would be like, then the director's like, cut, and there's like, they run out there, and it's like, boom, back to the blankets.
Now, are there, when you talk about the beaches on the Jersey Shore, me not being from Jersey or anywhere close to that, I always think about the TV show, Jersey Shore. Do different beaches have different personalities? Like if you go to the Hamptons versus the Jersey beaches, is it a different scene?
It's a totally different scene, and even beaches on the Jersey shoreline differ. There's all kinds of different ones. The ones that stick out for me, like Cape May is like pretty chill. It's kind of more along the lines of like the Hamptons. Hamptons are in New York State out in Long Island, and it's very like upper class. And it's pretty incredible out there, really beautiful. But then you have like Atlantic City, which is really cool. That's a whole different vibe because there's casinos there. And then you've got more of like the middle, like the Jersey Shore stuff, which is kind of like the show. But there's plenty of like normal people there as well. And then there's like, for example, I love a place called Asbury Park, home of Bruce Springsteen.
That's right. Greetings.
Also home of VCF East.
Ooh.
So one of the cool things we do at VCF East is on Saturday night or sometimes even Friday night, we head to Asbury Park, and there's this really amazing arcade right on the boardwalk called Silverball Arcade. Actually, Silverball Arcade Museum. And they have an incredible selection of like pinball games and arcade machines. and it's like one of my favorite places on the planet. It's just such a great vibe to like be in the arcade, playing pinball, playing video games with all your Amiga and retro friends, and then having like a beautiful beach. It's just an awesome setting. So the beach is and then you go all the way north, and there's a place called Sandy Hook, which is the northernmost beach in New Jersey. And at Sandy Hook, it's like a national park, so it's non-commercial at all, and that's why my wife and I like going there. When you're there, you feel like you're in a park, and it's not as convenient. Like you have to like park your car and you have to walk like really far to get to the ocean. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And then there's an ocean side for the Atlantic Ocean, and there's a bay side. So they're both very different. Ocean side's got the bigger waves. The bay side has got more like marshlands, but still beautiful. So there's like really awesome variety of beaches here for us to go to.
You're saying that VCF East, it's in New Jersey, but it's in Asbury Park. It's near the ocean.
Yeah, well, technically it's in Wall Township, New Jersey, but it's right next to Asbury Park.
I always thought, because my impression of New Jersey is only like just driving up 95, so not favorable. It's my impression of New Jersey. So you're saying that if I attend VCF East in the future, my opinion of New Jersey might be changed for the better.
I know it will be changed for the better. You know, we can hit the Stone Pony, check out some good bands.
Yeah.
You know, throw back some brewskis, head over to Silver Bullet Arcade, play some games. You know, maybe we'll do a little beach volleyball ourselves there on the beach boat.
That sounds great, Bill. I'm in, man. Let's talk about beach volleyball. All right, Bill. Beach volley. It is what it says on the tin. This is a beach volleyball game. It was developed by Ocean France for the Amiga and released by Ocean Software in 1989. It's a one-disc game that runs on ECS OCS Amigas and was written in assembly language. Its original purchase price, this was a full price game, £24, 99p. Do you remember back in the day, in this time period, in the late 80s, when you first got your Amiga, what were you paying for games back then, Bill?
Oh man, well I wasn't paying anything because my dad bought them for
me. You were part of the problem, weren't you?
Yeah, well no, not really. My dad was really big into like supporting the things that you like, so we bought a lot of games. My dad would buy me a lot of games. Of course, I copied games as well with my friends. Back then, I didn't really have a concept of that, so
right.
For me,
nobody really. It was a different mindset totally. I mean, I was the same way with my Atari computer. It's like you got a box of games showed up. My dad would bring it home from work, and I was like, hey, it's games. I wasn't really thinking about, man, I'm ripping off developers by doing this. So
yeah, no, that was far swing from my head.
Do you remember like going into stores? Do you remember any price tags or anything like that about what Amiga games were costing here in the States?
Oh, I think they were even more than £24. I mean, I think they were up in the $30s and $40.
Okay.
Yeah, back then. Yeah, they were, and especially like premium stuff like Shadow of the Beast and the beautiful box. Mm-hmm. Those were expensive.
Yeah. I always wondered about Shadow of the Beast. Did you have that in the box back in the day?
I had the box. I had the T-shirt.
You had the shirt. Oh, yeah. Did the shirt fit you? I always wondered what size shirt did they put in the box.
It fit me. It fit me. I was a little kid, but I was a chubby little kid, and it still fit me. So that's I guess maybe it's a medium or a large.
You got your money's worth.
It's probably medium.
Yeah. Yeah. So the developer of Beach Volley was Marc Jean, and he was also the founder of Ocean France. I'll tell you a little bit more about Ocean France later on. The coder was Mikel Janicki. He is a Polish fellow who also coded Cabal and Toki. Ocean France was huge in the arcade licensed game scene. Mikel went on to be the developer who was the lead programmer on the team that made Neopets. Do you remember Neopets, Bill?
I don't. I remember Toki though. Toki's great.
Yeah, Neopets is like a much newer thing. This was like a thing that was around in the mid 2000s, and it was one of the earliest kind of internet scams. I remember where people were sending Neopets bucks to each other in exchange for things, and kids were ripping off other kids. It was the first time I remember hearing about that sort of almost Bitcoin-like thing going on in games was Neopets. So I thought I'd stick that in there. Interesting bit of trivia.
Cool.
Graphics were done by Michael Bach, Philippe Desolé, and Pierre-Eric Loyu. I'm sure all of those French pronunciations totally correct. They all worked on Cabal and Ivanhoe. Did you ever play Ivanhoe on the Amiga, Bill?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. Never
No,
heard of it.
no.
Music was done by Jean Baudelot. He worked for lots of companies. He did the music for great point and click on the Amiga, Cruise for a Corpse for US Gold. He also did some of the music for Flashback. So he was a pretty renowned guy. Now, Ocean France was founded, it was sort of the first offshoot of Ocean proper. Ocean, of course, was located in Manchester in the UK, and as they were expanding, because they had major success with the 8-bit computers, they knew that these 16-bit machines were right around the corner. And they kind of had this branch studio that they founded in France, and their objective was to code all of Ocean's 16-bit projects with a real focus on licensed arcade ports, because Ocean realized early on that nobody was going to Japan to pick up these licenses, and they could get them for relatively cheap. They could license all these arcade machines and really make a few bucks, making Amiga and Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum ports of arcade games. So in an interview on Code Tapper Amiga's site, Mark says Ocean France frequently started ports before they even knew they had the rights. They were that confident that Ocean would be able to secure them. Unfortunately, that ended up backfiring on them later down the line. In the end of the 90s, they started working on games based on Snow Brothers and Liquid Kids, but Ocean never got the rights. Another company kind of snatched them out from under them. So they had these games pretty much completely released, and then they never got released. So talk about a dangerous game, don't you think? Programming games before you get the license.
It seems super risky to me. It's kind of like starting a movie before you get the rights to the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's ever happened? Somebody's like, we're going to do this on spec. Here, what do you think?
They have. No one's ever done maybe, I don't know. I don't know of a full blown movie like that, but I do know shorts. Like people who don't have the rights to certain things would make a short and try and get the rights to it, but they still invest a lot of it. A guy named Joseph Kahn, one of my favorite music video directors, he made one for oh my god, Power Rangers, and it was awesome.
Really?
Oh, it's one of my favorite shorts, and he got in big trouble, man. because his Power Rangers movie, his short movie, was awesome, and then when then they were in the process of making like a real Power Rangers movie, and when they saw Joseph's version, they were like out. He got banned from YouTube. He got banned, but I think there's still versions somewhere on Vimeo, because Vimeo don't care.
That's right. That's right. You put whatever you want on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Now, as a cinematographer, you're not under any liability if they go after the person making the movie, right? Because you're just working for the guy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it's out of my. Fortunately, I don't go down with that ship.
That's good.
Yeah.
So after that fiasco, the Snow Brothers and Liquid Kids incident, Ocean UK sort of dropped the hammer on these guys, and they changed Ocean France from a programming house to a marketing and sales arm of the company. Now, I don't know if it's just a coincidence that this the license game thing happened at around the same time, but that's sort of the way that I read it. But over the course, between 1986 and 1990, these guys put out a pretty good amount of games, about a dozen games. They did Operation Wolf, Bad Dudes, Cabal, Buster Brothers, Toki. So pretty good amount of games. And again, you want to talk about, like those early arcade ports in the life of the Amiga. They all came from Ocean, and a great deal of them came from Ocean France. So pretty cool.
Yeah, Toki's one of the best arcade conversions out there, I think.
Absolutely. That opening sequence with the girl and the ripped dress and everything, that's implanted into my mind.
Yeah.
They also created, as sort of a swan song, in the later part of the 90s, I think it was 94, they created a Mario-esque mascot for Ocean. I don't know if Ocean requested this or if they just thought it would be a good idea, but they were the ones behind Mr. Nuts. Did you ever play Mr. Nuts?
Oh yeah, that's a great one too.
Beautifully animated game, and it's not really, I think it only got an Amiga release, and a lot of people don't really think about it, but it's a great game. So anyway, that's a little bit of history behind.
I like it. Ocean. I'm learning tonight. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. The animation in Beach Volley is pretty rad.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. So let's talk about the lore, the Beach Volley lore. So when you fire up this game, you get a cutscene, and it's not really animated. It's just kind of like a series of stills. You've got two boys, and they're playing volleyball in a gym. And they're all tricked out in like knee pads and shoulder pads. I think they're even wearing helmets. And this stranger passes by, as often happens, and says, "Hey guys, do you want to play in the World Beach Volleyball Cup?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then before you know it, they jump on a plane and they go to their first competition. What do you think, Bill? You think this is based on a true story?
Absolutely. Sounds great. Sounds like great video game writing. I like the idea though, and actually the opening is pretty cool. Like the artwork is neat, so I like it.
It's very comic booky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So basically the way this game works is aside from that opening scene, and you get a little cutscene where it sounds very like a French person trying to put on an English accent. He says like, "Welcome to London," and boom, you're in London, world home of beach volleyball. I can't tell you, Bill, when I was going to graduate school in England, how many beach volleyball games I just saw. No, I never saw one. But this is the world of video games, and anything goes. So they're in London, and basically you travel all around the world, and you are trying to beat these teams from all around the world and reign supreme as beach volleyball champion. So, Bill, when you fired this thing up for the first time, what were your first impressions?
First of all, I mean, I love the graphics. I thought the graphics were really cool, and I mean, of course, I can't help it, but when I hear beach volleyball, it's like Top Gun. Like I think a Top Gun. I thought it was really cool. It seemed a little more sophisticated than like summer games. I was a big summer games epics fan. I love summer games. I love winter games, world games. I used to play them on my Commodore 64 and my Apple II. But this definitely felt a little more 16-bit. It felt a little more premium, a little more advanced to me.
Yeah. I think one of the things right off the bat that you notice going to the 16-bit era is just how much bigger they could make the sprites. To get a fast-moving game on an 8-bit machine like the Atari or the C64, or even the NES, you have to make your characters small. If you start making them big, they kind of move glacially. And even in the early Amiga games like Sword of Sodan, those guys were huge, but they didn't exactly move with a lot of speed.
No, not at all. But I love those big sprites in Sword of Sodan.
Oh, yeah.
But the animation, they're awesome. That's one of my favorites. I love Sword of Sodan.
Yeah,
but the animation. Yeah, it is. The animation though is also really good in Beach Volley, and I can't help but think, but the world map reminds me of Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 2. Like even the colors, the color palette looks very similar.
There's something from a game design standpoint as a player, if you can make your way around the map, and you see that world map, there's something that draws you in and gives you a reason to keep playing rather than just going from stage to stage. I think it kind of ties it all together.
Yeah, it gives you a destination, and it shows you like all the steps along the way, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So at least you know it's coming up, because sometimes I'll play a game and I'll have like no idea. Like, am I doing good? Like, how many levels are left? How am I doing? Am I 20% done with this game or like 80%? I don't know. But when you have like a world map, it definitely gives you direction and structure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now in this game, it's not exactly real volleyball rules. I've watched a couple games of volleyball. Being a middle school teacher, the band will sometimes play at volleyball games, which is really cool. And so I take the band. And normally in regular volleyball, I believe you have to serve to get the point. But in this game, it's very streamlined. In this game, you have to basically what you're doing is whenever if you serve and you get a point, if the ball lands on the other side of the court, you get a point. But also if the other team is serving and you manage to defend, then you still get the point. So the games go by pretty quick. Also, the games only go to 7. So the game moves by at a pretty quick pace. Did you appreciate that faster clip, Bill?
Yeah, the fast pace is really nice. You reminded me when you said that you work in a school, you teach in a school. I actually played volleyball in gym class in school, and it was a lot of fun. It certainly was no beach volleyball, but when we were younger, we would start out by, you didn't actually have to like tap the ball. You would actually catch the ball, because like we were too young to like really play properly.
Oh yeah.
Then when we got older, then we would play by the normal rules. And from what I remember, it was a long time ago now, but from what I remember, not only could you only get a point when you were serving, but when you were defending, you had to hit the ball twice. Like 2 different people on your team had to hit the ball, and then you could hit it over.
Oh, yeah. And you get that in this game too, because you've got the guy that kind of sets you up. Because the big, with any sort of volleyball video game that I've played, what you're essentially doing is you've got the computer controller who's setting you up, who's knocking the ball way, way high in the air so you can jump up 10 to 20 feet in the air and bring the smash down on the other side. When I was a kid, we always called that the spike. But in the nomenclature in the docs, they call it a smash. So I don't know if that's a UK versus US thing. Did you always call it a spike?
Spike, always spike.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's essentially what you do. Now, the game is, like you said, it's beautiful, it's big, it's colorful. What I like, again, sort of a nod to Street Fighter 2, is that wherever you go, you see the behind the court, you see a setting that's reflective of the country that you're in. So if you're watching the video right now, we're watching them play in Japan, and so you have those that kind of curved bridge over the river. You have some traditionally architected Japanese houses, some mountains in the background. It's really pretty. Wherever we just got done watching in Arizona, it's a desert type area, and you see like the cow skulls and stuff like that. In New York, there's actually these cutscenes as you play. They're kind of funny. You see your 2 volleyball guys traveling all around the world in these little single seat planes, and the Statue of Liberty actually eats one of your players in the cutscene. The cutscenes are very humorous. So it's little things like that that really can elevate a game to a higher level, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm looking at the screen right now, and the cherry blossoms look great, and the bonsai trees, but yeah, all those little details and all the humor, it goes a long way, because at the end of the day, we just want to have fun and play the games. I always like games with humor in it. I remember one of my favorite all-time games, not to change the subject, but is Three Stooges from Cinemaware.
Mm-hmm.
And the game opens up with the Defender of the Crown logo, and you're like, wait a minute, did I pop in my Defender of the Crown disc by accident? And all of a sudden the Stooges come out, and he's like, I think Larry says, this looks like a kid's game, and then Mo's like, you idiots, and he slaps him. He's like, wrong game. And it's just great. I like little details like that, like add so much color and flavor to your gaming experience.
Oh yeah. And Aaron, wherever he is right now, he's laughing and cheering because one of his favorite games is Three Stooges 2. So he's so happy you said that.
All right, so I'm doing right by him.
That's right. Now, there's one part of the game, Bill, we've got to talk about, and that is the naked chick. If you play, I believe in both the England stage and I think one of the American stages, or maybe it's Paris. That would make sense. On the continent, they're very lax with their nudity. You've got a lady just chilling out, one in. Bill, first time you saw that, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, I haven't played the game. I didn't play the game when I was a kid, so I'm an adult. So I see it from a different perspective. If I heard about a game with boobies in it when I was a kid, I definitely would have been asking Dad for it. But I didn't know about this game back then. What I think, I was looking at it and I was just like, it's strange. It looks really strange and out of place.
It's really weird. It's weird because everybody in this game, is a quote unquote hot body. You've got chiseled dudes, you got curvy girls. But it's just weird to have just kind of hanging out on the side of the court, just a lady just being there. It doesn't really fit with the game. I mean, I know why they did it. They did it because when one boy gets it, he's like, hey, you got to get this game. You can check out. I don't know exactly how much entertainment you're going to get out of that single pixel, but if I remember my teenage years, you could probably get a lot out of it. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it feels totally out of place now. It definitely doesn't age well.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. But it just doesn't fit in.
It doesn't fit in with the whole atmosphere of the game. But anyway, it's there. The other thing that's weird about this game is the timer. If we take a look for a second at the comparison between the Atari ST version and the Amiga version. The Atari ST version has a timer. The Amiga version has a timer, but it's this constantly it almost looks like a roulette wheel or a mini shot revolver. It's got tons of little circles and they're constantly spinning around. And as you play the game, the circles turn from sort of tan to blue, and that sets your time accordingly. I found this to be really confusing, and I had to consult the documentation to see exactly what this was, because this would not be my first choice for the timer. What did you think of the timer?
I didn't know what it was. Yeah, it was weird. I was like, what is that? Is it a power up? You know, like do you save up your energy and get a stronger spike? That's kind of what I thought it was at first.
Yeah.
I maybe for the first time ever, I'll say, all right, chalk one up for the ST because this just got a digital clock. It makes a lot more sense. I'm a simple guy.
Right.
But at least the Amiga one's getting artsy. I like that. But the thing that's really cool is, but I really think that, like, check it out. The Amiga graphics look a lot nicer. I love the shading on the characters better.
Yeah, there's so much more. I don't know if the technical term is dithering, but you get so much more of a gradient in the different shades of tan on the Amiga characters and the SD characters.
Yeah, the SD characters look pretty orange, whereas the Amiga characters have like nice skin tones.
Yeah, exactly. So apart from that, though, the game moves at pretty much the same speed. There's not a whole lot of difference between the drawings of the graphics themselves. The tunes are definitely different. If you play the ST version, the ST has that very distinctive. I don't want to say bad sounding, but it definitely doesn't have the audio fidelity of the Amiga. So
yeah, you know, the Amigas, I mean, the Polo chip is fantastic, and it sounds incredible.
Yeah,
I love the Polo chip. Yeah, and one of the chips in the Amiga never really changed throughout its lifespan.
That's true. Do you think, do you think that was one of the missteps that might have been made when they brought out AGA? Do you think that they should have done something to update the Polo chip?
Yeah, I think it would definitely be cool to have the Polo chip updated for sure, but they were focused on the graphics because I think that sells the machine more. Like the sound was already really good, and they wanted to like really wow people, dazzle people with the graphics. But it definitely would have been great to have a Polo upgrade. Just still, even though it's fantastic, it could be better. Yeah.
So looking at the reviews of this, the magazine reviews were pretty good. Amiga 64 gave it an 88%. The AUI gave it an 8 out of 10. The only magazine that really reviewed it poorly was Amiga Power. Now, they're doing something that they do a lot in these Amiga magazines, where they will wait 2 or 3 years after a game comes out, and then they'll just totally kill it, as if no time has passed between the time it was released and the time of the review. But they said, don't let the cartoon graphics trick you into buying this poorly disguised variation on a poor tennis game. So Amiga Power, they hated it, which I thought was weird, because I wouldn't call this a variation on a tennis game. I mean, this is volleyball. I mean, would you change anything about this game to make it more like volleyball, do you think?
Not really. I mean, I don't know where that reference comes from. Also, when I think of tennis games, I think of like a vertical orientation versus a horizontal. I think in television tennis, if I'm not mistaken, is a horizontal. But most of the other like tennis games I played for some reason are vertical.
Right. Well, I think it's easier to gauge the depth. When a shot's coming towards you, if the screen is in that orientation. So we also got some reviews from our Discord community about this game. We'll start things off with Lord Soup. He says, a formative Amiga experience for me. I'm pretty sure I played this among the first games I experienced on the Amiga. I probably play this with my best Liam Gallagher rose specs on, but I still get a blast out of it. Graphics are nice, if not exceptional. Sound is okay, but I really enjoy the gameplay. 2 buttons would have made this play more fluid, but otherwise, a game I have a lot of sentimentality for. Fun enough alone, but enhanced with a friend you can roll the computer together with. A solid 7 out of 10, the kind of 7 that a format is glad it has many of. Lobsterminator writes, this game has the most beautiful gold-shaded title graphic I've seen. The volley word is just perfect. Let's go back for a second, Bill, and talk about this. This is, I have very few dislikes about this game. My main dislike is whenever you load this game up, you have to wait for this solid gold trophy to slowly descend. I mean, you can't skip this. It's coming.
It's also strange too. Like, what is it? It's like these bodies kind of
these two intertwined bodies. This is not the image that I would open my game with. I think
no. It doesn't say volleyball to me.
No, it's like
maybe
some sort of like Greco-Roman wrestling, or I don't know, or maybe some sort of I don't know. It's hard to say, but anyway, that is that's one of my few complaints about this. Well, Exterminator goes on to write, he says, this was still close to the Top Gun era, so you play as men. Teenage boys were titillated with some background ladies, going as far as including some toplessness. Some years later, demonstrated in recent ARG Presents game Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, game designers realized that men were not required in the game at all for the target audience. That's true. It is a relatively simple game to learn, but it was good fun, especially in two-player mode. The graphics are very distinct and well-drawn, and the presentation is overall polished. This is a rare game I could imagine being ported from computers to an arcade cabinet back then. And finally, Pajako6502 writes, had I played this before? I can't tell. It all seemed very familiar, and yet I don't remember playing it. The music is very similar to Operation Stealth, and it is from the same composer, so maybe it's that. It's got sounds, it's got the graphics, and even some partial nudity, albeit in pixelated form. Gameplay can be a little iffy here and there, especially camera positioning. I had times where the ball disappeared off the top of the screen because I was further to one side of the court where the giant people live, so it was difficult to judge the ball location. And similarly, when the opponents have the ball, you can't really see your side of the court, so it's tricky to position your player to defend a smash volley. Although I initially disliked it, I came to enjoy the beach volley in the end. But clearly, I suck at this because I utterly failed to win a match after 45 minutes of playing. Probably a better two-player game than against the computer, which is too hard at the start, but still a good game to check out. 7 out of 10. Bill, where would you rate this one? What are your final thoughts?
You know, to be honest, I got to spend a little more time with it. A 7 out of 10 is a pretty good number. I like that. But one thing I also want to add in there is they're talking about, two-player, it being a great two-player game. And just don't forget, this is actually on Amiga Live. It's on amigalive.com. And playing this game, online with a friend would take it to a whole nother level. Because I agree, like it's just much better two-player. And if you're not at Boat Fest and you don't have some friends around, you can just fire up the Amiga Live and play some two-player beach volley. And I think it's a much better experience.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for beach volleyball.
Welcome to Retro Rewind. I'm your host, British Jones. Whether you're into the Amiga, Commodore 64, or Tiger floral print speed suits, Retro Rewind has all you need from the friendly hosers of the Great White North. Looking to upgrade your Amiga? Check out the Amiga OS 3.2.2 Kickstart ROM for just $18. Or maybe you need a C64 or C128 diagnostic harness. Grab one while they're hot. Don't miss our best sellers like the 1541 Transit Card for just $1, or the incredible Amiga Coin Cell Battery Adapter. Shop now at Retro Rewind Limited and bring your classic computers back to life. Retro Rewind Limited. Frank's the man.
Amiga News.
All right, Bill, it's been a busy week in the world of Amiga news. Let's dive right in. We're starting with the biggest news to come out of the Amiga laptop scene in quite some time. Our good friend Ravi Abbott has created an Amiga 600 Lego laptop. Have you seen this, Bill?
Ravi sent me some pictures of it, and it looks awesome. It looks really, really cool. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Did you ever toy with the idea of an Amiga, or was there, back in the day? I'm sure. Did Commodore ever tease rumors of a portable Amiga?
Yeah, I believe there was something called the Pause, right? And that was the portable Amiga. And there's actually, our friend Mike has got one in Westchester Amiga user group.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool. It's an Amiga 1200 inside of a portable case. And one of these days, I'm going to get over to Mike's house and I'll do a little video about it. But
that's got to be ultra rare.
It's very rare. Yes. Now, it wasn't a Commodore product. It was a third-party product. But it
like
was
a Bodega Bay type thing.
Yeah, it was a real thing. So the Pause is very, very cool. And, we always wanted to have an Amiga laptop back then. I remember the idea of being able to bring a computer anywhere was just mind-boggling. Same thing like with phones. Like I remember the first time I saw a cordless phone, I'm like, wow, you could actually be outside and be on the phone. That's amazing.
It's amazing the stuff that we totally take for granted now, that if you would have showed like kid version of us, they would have been blown away.
Yeah.
So Ravi takes you through and he shows you every little thing that went into this. And this was a multi-year project. I mean, I remember talking to Ravi at Amiga Ireland the first time that I went in 2019, and he was still working on this. A big challenge, of course, is just powering this thing with all these little tiny batteries and everything. So hats off to Ravi for making his dream a reality. And I totally dig the Lego case. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
perfect for a project like this, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with next.
That's really cool. I dig it. I dig it. The closest thing I've seen recently to an Amiga laptop is our friend Pierre in Westchester Amiga user group. He had this laptop shell for the Raspberry Pi,
Mm-hmm.
and he built a really cool like Amiibian build for his Raspberry Pi and put that in the laptop case that's designed for Raspberry Pi. And that
That's so
that was
cool.
a really cool project. Yeah, that was cool. But not as cool as a Lego case, but it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. Next up, we got some gaming news from our good buddy Neil over at Indie Retro News. You know, Indie Retro News, is there a better source for what's new and hot in the Amiga gaming scene, Bill?
Not that I know of.
No.
Love Indie Retro News. Yeah.
No.
Neil's on it.
Yeah. And so our first story is this game, Chopper Duel. It bills itself as the ultimate two-player air combat game. Have you heard of this one, Bill?
Yeah, I fired this one up on my stream last week, and it's really cool. The thing is, it's strictly 2-player.
Mm-hmm.
So I was here, like, I had 2 joysticks in my hand, and I was like, this is really neat, but it really needs to be you really need 2 people. So here, another great one for Amiga Live. It definitely has, like, Space Taxi vibes.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever play Biplane Duel on the Amiga?
Biplane Duel. You know what? I do remember it, but I never.
It's that type of game that immediately comes to mind for me because it's the same thing where it's like you spend at least half your time just dying while you're crashing, but you're laughing while you're doing it because it's so fun. And you're right, this definitely has some Space Taxi vibes to it. Can you actually land your helicopter anywhere besides the pads, or is it?
I don't know. Last week I was so focused on trying to like play with 2 hands that
you couldn't really concentrate on the details. But anyway, this is available. I believe it's available now, and you can check it out and download it from a I079's itch page. So check that out. Our next story, Bill, is Skin Vaders. That sounds creepy.
Yeah. I had some fun with this one, Boat.
Tell us about, I'm so glad that you're on the show this week, Bill, because you actually played a bunch of these games on your stream last week. So tell us about Skin Vaders.
Yeah, Skin Vaders is really cool, and the nice thing about Skin Vaders, I was having some fun on my stream with the whole skin thing, But anyway, when you're thinking about skins, you're thinking about like reskinning the game, like reskinning your Amiga amp or your Win amp.
Yeah.
And the really neat thing is you can change the sprites and you can change the background image very easily. They're just like little files that come with the game. So like basically there's like 9 different slots, I believe. So like slots 1 through 6 they come with the game and they're pre-programmed. Like on the screen right now, I see the circuit board theme. But then there's empty slots for 7, 8, and 9. And you can make your own background. So I didn't get to make my own sprites, but I did make my own background. I took a cool picture of my dad's turntable, his Technics SB15 turntable, and I made that as the background. It just uses a regular like Amiga IFF file. It's an 8-color. I don't remember the resolution. It's pretty low resolution. But it's 8-color, and I made the record as a background, and then I want to change the enemies into like final records. I think that'd be cool.
Oh man. This is basically like a build your own Space Invaders clone.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to know any programming. All you need to know is how to make like the IFF images, which is super cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. And this is available on Electric Black Sheep's itch page, so you can check that out. And of course, all of these links are available on the Amiga News subreddit, so you can check those out.
Electric Black Sheep does really great stuff. They're making some really neat.
What do you know offhand? Do you know something else that they've done?
Yeah, they're doing like those top-down space games. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay. Yeah, let's check. Let's just check out their page real quick.
No, they're doing some really cool stuff. Let's see what you pull up there. So I'm on a little bit of a delay.
Get rid of that out there.
Skin Vaders. It's funny. I play so many games. Sometimes they all come up.
It looks like Project Horizon. Is that one you tried?
Yes. Project Horizon. None of us is really cool. None of us uses half bright mode.
Oh.
So like you're it's like a top down, like a 3/4 top down. No, I think none of us might be just top down, but it uses a half bright mode. So like you can like look into the shadows and see the enemies coming in the shadows. It's
holy
really
cow.
neat.
That's so cool. And there, not a lot of games use that half bright mode that the Amiga offers. So it's always awesome when people pull that out. This looks like it's based off of Among Us, right? Isn't that these guys?
Yeah. Yes.
So pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now a lot of their games are like works in progress. Like tech experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, here's like a level that's not finished, but we're working on it. Like we're checking out the half right mode. So I hope they finish all of them because they're really cool.
Yeah,
really,
it looks like a good mix of games and demos, and they're getting all kinds of. Do you know where they're located, Electric Black Sheep?
I don't know. I don't know where they're located.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
They're located in the land of awesome.
That's right. Heck yeah. Next up, Tenebra 2. Tenebra 2. Do you know anything about this one, Bill?
I played this one too. Line them up and shoot them down, baby. Yeah, this is really neat. So this game is really interesting because it's a puzzle game, but it's a maze puzzle game. And so basically your character is afraid of the dark. And so you can only walk in areas that are illuminated. And then so in order to like extend the area of illumination, you have to pick up a torch. And when you have the torch, you can walk around because you're illuminating the area. But then there's you can't bring torches through the doorways. So you kind of have to like place torches in strategic spots. So then you can like go through the doorway and then pick up a torch on the other side of the wall. And then there's keys because some of the doors need keys. So it starts to get like really, there's lots of layers to it. It starts to get very complex, but it's a really cool take on a puzzle game. You know, when I think of puzzle games, I think more of like, you know, like board games, like board puzzle games or like memory games. But this is like a cool twist on it because it's like a top-down maze game. It reminds me a little bit of like the original Castle Wolfenstein, except it's a puzzle game.
Yeah. Now, is there any combat in this, or are you just kind of avoiding the enemies?
I haven't gotten that far. I never got to any combat. It was really more just like solving the puzzles, how to get out of the level.
I love the fog of war effect too, with like the light emanating from your torch or whatever. Yeah, that's super cool. And yeah. Listen, how great is it to be a fan of a platform where you've got everything from the graphical fidelity of like that, of like Devil's Temple or something like that, where it looks like it just jumped out of an arcade machine. And then you've got something really, really stripped back, black and white, minimalist, but still beautiful in its own way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Number of colors, shading, all that matters. Like art can be beautiful, whether it's black and white or lots of different colors. And games, you know, of course, I love playing games that look beautiful. That's one of the things that attracted me to the Amiga. But at the end of the day, it's like, is it fun to play? That's all that matters.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of games that are fun to play, you know, there's this new hotness it's taken over the YouTube scene these days. This is the Evercade. Are you familiar with the old Evercade, Bill?
Yeah, you know, I don't have an Evercade, but I know that they released the Amiga collection for it with the cool.
So the Evercade, this is to be honest with you, this is a product that is not for me. I don't understand the allure of having a system, you know, paying for a system that can play all the games that I can already play. But listen, there's something for everybody in this big wide world. And if you're one of those people that love to collect the Evercade line of games, you love lining them up on the shelf. I mean, there's something to be said. I like a good shelf full of games. Don't get me wrong. You're going to want to check out the Team 17 collection. This is Mad Little Pixel has done a review of this thing. And, you know, Team 17, talk about a murderer's row of games that these guys have released. Probably most famous for Worms, but they've also got Body Blows, Alien Breed. Do you have a favorite Team 17 game, Bill?
Oh boy. Oh man, there's so many good ones. Maybe I go Alien Breed. It kind of depends how I'm feeling, but Alien Breed, it's hard to beat Alien Breed. I love Alien Breed.
Yeah. It's rock hard though. Alien Breed doesn't mess around.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, so you can
Project X is rad. Project X was Team 17, right?
Yeah, Project X. I was just showing that on there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Project X was probably my favorite. Well, it's Project X or Alien Breed. I don't know. I like them both.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's got to be Worms. I'm all in on the Worms stuff.
Okay.
But
I can't argue with that. Worms is awesome.
And I always forget about Quack. I forgot that Quack was a Team 17 game, but they made that one too. So this looks like a killer collection, and it is available now on your Evercade device.
Evercade's got a cool design. It's got some Famicom vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they were going for that with that red and white. And finally, this is a video that our Discord community member HSI turned me on to. He's a big synth guy. I don't know anything about synthesizers except I think they sound cool. I'm real into like that sort of like retro synth sound where like the instrument's not quite in tune. It's kind of warbly and stuff like that. I love that old analog synth stuff. And apparently the Amiga has a rich tradition of doing software synthesis in, on the system itself. Have you dug into a lot of this type of stuff, Bill?
No, I didn't. I can tell you this video is awesome, though. I know Paulie put a lot of effort into this video, and I love synthesizers too, but it's so funny. Like when it comes to music, I really love music, but I know nothing about creating it. I could tell you a quick story. I used to take trombone lessons, and I was terrible. Like,
fellow trombone player.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fellow trombone player. I tried, and I knew how bad I was. It pained me to come home and practice the trombone because I'm like, this is a waste of time. I'm so bad at it. One day I was out in the yard playing at school, at my lunch break, and my next class was the music class, and it was like, okay, the teacher blew the whistle. I was on my way back into the school, and I slipped and fell in mud.
Oh my
God! I
gosh.
was like covered in mud, and I went to Catholic school. And went to grammar school, so I had like my uniform on, and I was just covered. It looked like I just had a mud wrestling tournament.
Man.
And I was like, so I go to the music teacher. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can make it to class because I'm covered in mud and I need to like go home and get dressed. And he's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, you know what? Don't bother coming back ever.
Oh no, that's awful.
Because you suck at the trombone, kid. And I was like, respect. I hate this thing, and I never want to go back to the class anyway. So it was like a mutual agreement, and then I never had to go to music class ever again, and that was the end of my musical career.
Oh well, I hate that for you, Bill. But it's experiences like that that's made you the man you are today.
Exactly. But I love, I'm a huge fan of synthesizers. Like electronic music is wonderful. I even love things like the theremin. That's amazing. And old music equipment looks so cool, and all those like modular synths.
Yeah,
I don't even know, like exactly
anything with tons of knobs and stuff on it. I mean, I'm in. I don't care what it does.
I want knobs. I want buttons and wires. Lots of wires.
Yeah,
is cool.
Lights that sort of pulsate like once every couple seconds. They just come on for no reason at all. No reason I can think of. So, but anyway, what's the name of the guy that put this together?
Paulie Alex Bow.
Paulie Alex Bow. All right. Yeah. Well, this channel, Magical Synth Adventure, I checked out a couple of the other the videos, and man, great stuff. I'm a lot like you. I don't know anything about how synths work, but I just love putting it on and listening to them talk about it. It's great.
Yeah, Paulie will be performing at Kickstart 01
really?
Coming up in July. Yeah, the after party. Paulie Hoffman, and there's someone else too. I don't know their name off the top of my head.
Fantastic. That's going to be something. We should talk a little bit about that, since we're just a couple weeks away. I'm trying to think about what the URL is for that.
Fun fact too, Paulie's also doing music for Arcade Dreams documentary.
It's in Nottingham, right? Kickstart Amiga Nottingham.
Yeah.
There we go. Amiga UK Expo Kickstart. So this thing is only a couple weeks away. Tickets are still available. You're not going to be able to make this one, are you, Bill?
Unfortunately not. I need to be in LA like the day after for a job. So, yeah.
You want to talk about we're going to talk about BoatFest in a second, but BoatFest is the minor leagues compared to what Ravi has lined up in terms of just Amiga star power at this thing. This is going to be on the Meadow Lane football ground, and he's bringing in all the heavy hitters: Mike Daly from DMA Design, guys from Bullfrog, Core, John Hare from Sensible. This is the first one of these, and I can only imagine that this thing is just going to be off the charts awesome. I know that Ravi's put in a tremendous amount of work trying to put this thing together essentially from the ground up. It always kind of floored me that that Ireland had a big Amiga festival every year, but England didn't have anything that was, truly an Amiga only event until this thing came along. So, Bill, do you think that America could handle an Amiga only exhibition like this?
Absolutely. I do.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days, we'll have to maybe you and I and some other people can join forces to put a show on. I'm sure that there's enough Amiga fans here in the States that we could make something happen.
Actually, it's funny. I had this conversation exactly 1 week ago this time with one of my friends. Say Amiga 40, New York City, take it back to the place where it all began, baby.
Yeah. And that's when is this? The 40th is in 2 years, right?
It is.
So we got plenty of time to plan. Man, if that happens, Bill, I'm in. I'm there, buddy.
I know nothing about organizing events. I would need a lot of help with that one.
Well, we got plenty of time to plan it. So it'd be good. And I'm sure it's easy. There's probably no permits involved in doing anything in New York. It's probably
it's a piece
regulation
of cake.
free.
piece of cake. We used to have Ami Expo in New York City. We used to have World of Commodore in New York City. So we had lots of good Commodore and Amiga trade shows in the city back in the day.
It's going to do it for the Amiga news this week. So I thought we'd take a quick gander over at the Amigos Retro Gaming YouTube page to see what's been going on. And we released quite a few videos this past week. The first one is on the Amigos Evil Twin show, the Atari ST show. We took a look at Speedball. Speedball is a game that doesn't get a lot of hype because of its sequel. But, in my opinion, I think Speedball 1 is a more fun game to play because it's a little bit less frantic. There's fewer people on the field. Do you have a preference of Speedball 1 or Speedball 2, Bill?
It's funny. It's funny, Boat. I'm a Speedball 1 guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Speedball 2, but I kind of got into Speedball 2 later in life. When I was a kid, I was a Speedball 1 guy with my Amiga 500. I mean, I love Speedball 2, but I think when it came out, it was almost like too much for me. Speedball 1 was just like a little simpler, a little more basic. Speedball 2, when with the screen moving around stuff, it got crazy. Although these days, maybe I go Speedball 2 these days, but I love the simplicity of Speedball, and it starts out nice and easy, and it ramps up the difficulty when you're doing like the league mode well. And Speedball 1's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, Speedball 2 is pretty rad though. Still one of the best.
And then it was double your pleasure this week on ARG Presents. Brent and Aaron took a look at games for the VTech Creativision. You ever hear of the VTech Creativision before?
No, never.
ARG Presents is all about putting a spotlight on the obscure, the unusual, and the VTech Creativision is nothing if not obscure and unusual. It had two paddle controllers that are sort of like Intellivision controllers, but you put them in the housing on the console, and they formed a keyboard that you could type on.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty cool until you actually try and type on it and you realize it's a membrane keyboard and it's not a good time. But the thought was in the right place.
Yeah, definitely. A for effort there.
And finally, the ARG Presents team took a look at sword and sorcery games. They looked at Wizards and Warriors on the NES and Castle Warrior on the Amiga. Have you played Castle Warrior, Bill?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, this is a new one for me too. So make sure you check that out. All of these videos are available on the Amigos Retro Gaming YouTube channel. All right,
nice
Bill.
one.
It's time to talk about what's going down next week. That's right, 1 week from today, the second annual BoatFest Retro Computing Exhibition will be going down in downtown Hurricane, West Virginia. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is BoatFest? Well, BoatFest is a place where lovers of old computers get together, set up their machines, sit around, maybe consume a couple adult beverages, and just frivolity and mirth and laughter and gaming for 2 solid days. How's that sound, Bill?
Sounds like heaven.
That's pretty much what it is. You can go over to let's get the bot out of the way there. I'm just going to play a little bit of this video. This was last year's BoatFest. Last year we held the BoatFest in the conference room of the Holiday Inn Express. That was the room that we could get at the time. This year we have totally outgrown it. We had about 20 people last year. This year we're expecting close to 50. We got people coming from England, 2 guys coming from England. Shout out to Bajako and Mitsuyama. Shout out to Graham W. Vebke for flying all the way from Australia to come to BoatFest. Can you imagine? And of course, we're going to be doing gaming tournaments. We're going to have live broadcasts of Amigos, Ask the Amigos, and ARG Presents. We're going to have BoatFest Trivia. You can see Frank from Retro Rewind up there participating in BoatFest Trivia. We'll have live performances of the Sprite Castle podcast from Rob Flack O'Hara. There will be high score competitions. There will be every single old obscure computer you can ever think of hooked up. Guys, you're not going to want to miss this, and we do have a couple tickets left. Tickets are still available at boatfest.info. If you're interested, it's only $30 for the weekend, gets you in. And on Sunday, we're going to take a special field trip down to Huntington, the next town over, and we're going to visit the Old North Barcade, play some fun arcade games, and just have some more fun.
But that's awesome. Kudos to you for putting this together. It reminds me kind of like of a Westchester Amiga user group meeting, but like on steroids. It sounds super cool, man.
Yeah.
Good job to you for putting this together. It's awesome. Dude, you're totally qualified to play an Amiga 40 in the USA.
Hey,
See that?
let's get together. I can help you out, man. We'll make it happen.
Sweet. I gotta get a WOG meeting going. I was supposed to have a WOG meeting last summer. And then my dad went to the hospital the weekend I was wanting to do it, and then it all went downhill from there, unfortunately. But now, it's time to rebound, and I would love to do some kind of WOG event, even if it's small this summer.
Yeah. And Bill, why don't you take some time and tell us a little bit about what you do every week?
What I do every week? Oh, okay, sure. I do live Amiga streams here on Twitch. I stream Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time. That's where I live. That works out to be 6 o'clock. I gotta look at my thing. It's like 6 o'clock in UK. No, 6 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, 7 o'clock in the UK, 8 o'clock in European time, and we have a good time over there. It's a lot of fun. I do Amiga news. I play the classic games. I play the new games. My favorite thing to do is to have guests on my stream. I'm gonna have two amazing guests this Sunday. It's gonna be an absolute blast. Absolute Amiga legend. The first thing I need to do, Boat, to prepare for the stream is learn how to pronounce my guest's name right. but I've got Yogair, one of the the legends, Amiga musician legends. He's coming on along with Peter Clark. They are part of a new I would call it a record, or it's a music compilation called Encore 500 that's available on Spotify, and it's a bunch of super talented Amiga musicians like Yogair and Peter. And I think Pete Cannon as well. They all got together and they remixed some classic Amiga tunes, and it's called Encore 500. So I'm gonna have those two guys on. We're gonna talk about it and learn about the process, talk about the songs that were chosen. But it's a world-class production that they put together, and the music is just awesome. So those guys are gonna be on. And I'm also going to give away two tickets to Kickstart, thanks to Retro Passion.
Wow.
Retro Passion, donated 2 tickets for Sunday. And he's like, dude, here's 2 tickets, just raffle them off. So I'm gonna do it. 2 tickets for Kickstart 01 Sunday, because Saturday sold out. So he got 2 tickets for Sunday to raffle off. So if you want to head to Kickstart, thinking about it on the fence, maybe it's a little expensive, whatever, boom, pop into the stream Sunday, and maybe you'll be a lucky winner.
That's fantastic. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Amigos. We will see you next time, and until then, adios.
Amigos is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Patreon supporters help choose the games we play, receive exclusive magnets, and get access to the Amigos Retro Gaming Discord server. Visit patreon.com/AmigosPodcast if you'd like to support the show and join our community.